Your dog walks into the room with something in its mouth. Maybe it's a tennis ball. Maybe it's a rope toy. Maybe it's a stuffed animal that has clearly survived several emotional disasters. And then your dog drops it near your feet and looks at you, not randomly, not casually, but with that very specific look that seems to say, "Well, are you seeing this?" So what is your dog actually doing? Is it asking you to play? Showing off? Or is that little toy part of a deeper conversation between the two of you? Because when a dog brings you a toy, it may look simple, but behind that small gesture is a mix of learning, emotion, attention, and trust. And once you understand it, that soggy little tennis ball may start to feel a lot more meaningful. Let's start with the most obvious answer. Sometimes your dog brings you a toy because it wants to play. Dogs are social animals. For many dogs, play is not just exercise, it is communication. A dog may bring you a ball because the ball has become the beginning of a familiar story. The ball appears. You look up. Maybe you throw it. Maybe you laugh. And over time, your dog learns something simple. When I bring this object to my human, something good happens between us. That is why the toy matters. But the toy is not the whole point. The toy is the button your dog has learned to press. A way of starting you. A way of turning a quiet room into a shared moment. This is one reason dogs may bring toys when you seem distracted. You are working. You are looking at your phone. You are sitting on the couch but not really with them. And then suddenly, there is a toy on your lap. From your dog's point of view, this is a reasonable strategy. The toy has worked before. It has made you look, speak, and move. And for a social animal, your attention can be a powerful reward. Not because your dog is trying to manipulate you in some dramatic human way, but because dogs are very good at learning what brings them back into connection with us. A toy can become a polite little question. Are you available? Can we do something together? Can I have you for a moment? But not every toy delivery means, throw this. Sometimes a dog brings you a toy and does not actually want to let go of it. You reach for it, and your dog turns its head. You try again, and now it trots away. This can feel confusing. If you brought it to me, why are you keeping it? But for many dogs, the point is not always to hand the toy over. Sometimes the point is to invite a game. The dog is not saying, "Here, take this." It may be saying, "Come chase me," or "Let's tug," or "Look what I have." In dog play, objects can become social tools. They let a dog start a playful exchange without needing words. So your dog may not be bad at sharing. It may just be very good at saying, "Catch me if you can." Then there is excitement. Think about what happens when you come home. Your dog hears the door, your scent arrives, your voice appears. The whole emotional temperature of the house changes. Some dogs jump, some bark, some spin in circles, and some dogs immediately run to find a toy. This can be a kind of emotional outlet. The dog is excited, but instead of putting all that energy into jumping on you or mouthing your hands, it grabs an object. The toy gives that energy a safe shape. Carry the toy, wiggle with the toy, greet the human while holding the toy. For some dogs, this becomes a beautiful little habit. The toy gives their body something to do with all that happiness. And if you have ever come home to a dog proudly carrying a toy, tail moving like a windshield wiper, you know it does not feel random. It feels like the toy is part of the greeting. Like your dog is saying, "You're back, now we can begin." But are dogs actually giving us presents? A dog does not think about gifts exactly the way a person does. Your dog is probably not imagining birthdays or wrapping paper, but that does not mean the behavior is meaningless. Dogs can prefer one toy over another. They can learn that objects are connected to comfort, play, attention, or closeness. So when your dog brings you a favorite toy, it may not be a gift in the human sense, but it may still be a kind of sharing, a way of bringing something emotionally important into your shared space. The toy has value because of what happens around it. It smells familiar. It carries memories of games, your voice, and your attention. So when your dog brings it to you, it may be bringing more than an object. It may be bringing a whole pattern of connection. This is part of why old toys matter. To us, that stuffed animal may look ruined. One ear missing, a suspicious stain, no clear species identity left. But to your dog, It may be full of history. The texture is familiar. The scent is layered. A toy can become a container of past moments, the game yesterday, the feeling of being included. Your dog is not telling itself a story in words, but its brain can still connect objects, people, places, and feelings. That is how learning works. That is how habits become rituals. There are moments when toy bringing can tell you something else. If your dog suddenly becomes obsessive about bringing toys, look at the larger picture. Is your dog getting enough exercise, sniffing time, play, and rest? Has something changed in the home? A new schedule? More stress? Dogs often communicate through patterns. A single toy delivery is usually not a problem, but a sudden change can be information. The key is to read the whole dog. Is the body loose and playful, or tense? Are the eyes soft or worried? Does your dog bring the toy, then settle, or seem unable to calm down? Context matters. A toy in the mouth can mean joy, invitation, habit, or energy. And sometimes it can mean your dog needs more help finding balance in the day. So what should you do when your dog brings you a toy? First, notice the moment. Your dog is offering you a chance to connect. You do not always have to start a full game. Sometimes a few seconds of attention is enough. A warm voice, a clear cue like, "Not now," can also help. Dogs do well when our responses make sense. If you can play, play. If you cannot, you can still acknowledge the attempt, because being seen is part of the reward. And if your dog brings you the toy but refuses to give it to you, try not to take it personally. You may simply be invited to a different version of the game. A tug game, a chase game, a please admire this destroyed duck game. Sometimes the dog has already told us what game it is. We just have to learn the rules. There is something quietly beautiful about this behavior. A dog bringing a toy is not a grand gesture. It is small, ordinary, easy to overlook. A dog enters the room, something soft in its mouth. It drops it near you, or holds it proudly, or presses it against your leg. And in that tiny act, there may be a question, a memory, an invitation, a burst of excitement, a habit built from years of being answered. Dogs do not speak in sentences the way we do, but they do build languages with us. A glance can become a request, a sigh can become a mood, and a toy, a simple, chewed-up, ridiculous little toy, can become a bridge. So the next time your dog brings you one, look closely. Maybe it wants to play. Maybe it wants your attention. Maybe it is excited and needs somewhere to put the feeling. Maybe it is sharing something that matters. But most of all, it may be doing something dogs do with the people they trust, turning an object into a moment, turning a moment into a ritual, and turning that ritual into one more quiet way of saying, "I want this to include you."